Hello. Sorry to interrupt, folks. Thanks for joining us today for lunch. We've got a fantastic Lunch and Learn presentation for you, co-presenting from our friends over at Vizu and also Mary Kay Cosmetics, a case study. I'd like to introduce to the stage Ginny Campbell. She's with Vizu. She's the RVP of Strategic Accounts. And co-presenting with her today is Marty Breedlove, Manager of Advertising and PR and Integrated Marketing at Mary Kay Cosmetics. Did I get all that right, ladies? All right, please welcome our Lunch and Learn presenters.
Thanks. So I can walk away. All right. I'm awkwardly putting my hands in my pockets because this guy is here and I'm afraid it's going to fall out and hit the stage. But good to see all of you. Welcome to the lunch portion of today. Marty and I are actually going to be talking about social media, specifically using that particular part of the ecosystem to build a brand and influencing the influencers. I'm going to take a little bit of the intro and then we're going to trade off. So I'm Ginny Campbell. I'm with Vizu. As it was mentioned, I may or may not have the viewing habits of a 15-year-old based on today's panel. I'm going to take the clicker and try to figure this out. So quick. This is the only taxing part of the presentation. Quick quiz. Well, hang on 1 minute. Which way do I go? There we go. Who is that? Anybody? Shout it out. It's nobody's family member, I assure you. Good job. Who is that? Some prize will be generated for you. So I will figure it out. So yes, his famous quote, "Half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is, I don't know which half." So at Vizu, very simply, in case you're not familiar with our company, this is where we sit. The idea is to help our partners, so those include brands, agencies, and media partners of ours, help figure out which of the half is actually working and potentially which half is not working or not working as well. And the most important part of what we do, and we reiterate this in our everyday speech and certainly in working with our clients like Marty, is do something about it before it's too late. So we give the opportunity and the data in real time so that everyone can look at it, everyone that is working against a particular effort can look at it and do something while the media is still running, while the effort is still live. So just a quick few tidbits, and then I'll turn it over to Marty to talk about the particular campaign. We contracted a brand advertising outlook report earlier this year and have a few interesting learnings specifically relevant to what we did with Mary Kay. First, asked our marketing partners, how will your spending in a few channels change in comparison to last year? No surprise, I'm sure, here to anyone in this room. Social media, huge spike, second only to mobile. So perhaps 2012 will finally be the year of mobile. It's been the year of mobile the past 10 years, so we'll continue to keep an eye on it. And then also interestingly enough, in comparison from the IBM CMO report, when asked about the biggest headaches marketers have, also right there, social media. So I'm going to spend a lot of money on social media and at the same time acknowledge it's going to be one of my biggest headaches. So again, second only to the explosion of data, which I think we've all reiterated here at different times, has been a challenge for everyone in this business. So much data, how do I sort of ferret through and get to good data? So final tidbit here to keep in mind as we talk about this particular case study, commenting on the amount of data in the ecosystem. A third of media buyers are stating they're just drowning in it and they'd prefer to have a few relevant metrics to look at and gauge performance. And then the large majority of them believe that truly brand lift, when they are advertising digitally and have brand goals, brand lift is the metric they'd like to focus on. So with that intro, I'll turn it over to Marty to talk about specifically the efforts of Mary Kay.
Thank you.
It's left and right.
Okay. And I have a habit of talking fast, and I know that you all want to get out of here and do your fun activities, which I am very jealous of anybody who is going fishing. I will not be joining you, but have fun. So for us, for Mary Kay, as many of you probably are aware or would assume, we have a very, very rich heritage and history, and we have a great founder, Mary Kay Ash. However, when people think of us today, that's exactly what they think about. They think about pink Cadillacs, they think 1960s, they think really big hair, blue eyeshadow. They don't think of us as being relevant and current to them today. And those are things that we definitely realize as a brand, but we've never had the opportunity to be able to call out some of those myths ourselves. So that's what we know as a brand. Our objectives for this campaign was not only to create awareness, one person at a time, but it was also to change the perceptions of people. And the way we wanted to change the perceptions was through these beauty-conscious consumers themselves. Because what we've learned over the year is our products are successful in changing women's perceptions. Once the women try our products, they love the products, they become brand lovers, they are an advocate for us, they purchase the products, and they share that amongst their friends. So we have been doing blogger outreach as part of our PR program for years. And we had really great feedback, but we didn't really have real metrics or real research and results that we could put against that. So we started out with this program with BlogHer, and then we partnered with Vizu so that we could really get some of those metrics and the research to know, are we really making an impact the way that we thought we would when we reached out to the bloggers? So before we decided who we wanted to partner with, we had our media agency go out to several different blogging organizations. And for us as a company, and I'm sure many of you in the room, I heard someone earlier talk about how we have to talk to legal, we need to go through regulatory. Somebody said something about the chief financial officer wanting to know what the ROI is and what you're doing to my business. To me, the first stop is my legal and regulatory, because we're a very conservative company when it comes to our ingredients. So having a program like this was very, very scary within our organization. We didn't even have the conversations about the financial impact yet because we didn't even know if we were going to get past that barrier. The way we were able to overcome that barrier was when we partnered with BlogHer, we were able to actually route every single post through our legal and regulatory groups, which I don't recommend, but we had, we had to do that in order to move this test program forward. And as you'll see, we are past that as an organization, I'm happy to report, and we will be moving forward with bigger programs this year. But so we really wanted to go after that everyday woman, and as you'll see, as I said, we wanted to, not myself, my legal and regulatory departments wanted to have full control over what blog posts were posted. The other important thing was the research, and not only for this program, but we were trying to find a consistent research measurement where we asked the same questions amongst several of our partnerships. And so we were very lucky that several of our partners partner with Vizu. So we were able to get those consistent metrics, not only just with this BlogHer program, but with several other digital campaigns that we had going on during the year. So what we did was we had selected 40 bloggers. We did 20 in the spring and 20 in the fall. And we not only had the blogs that we used, but we had a hub where we aggregated all of those blog posts. And then we also wanted to test some advertising to go along with that. So we tested not only our brand ads, but we also tested the examples I'm showing here that actually pulled things from the bloggers' posts. And I'm sure it's no surprise to you which one tested better. Anybody guess? It was the blog. It was when we pulled the bloggers' comments into the ads. That's what tested better for us. And that didn't surprise us because of the authenticity, and we know that women and people in general these days really, they rely on the word of mouth of their friends and their social circles when they make purchasing decisions. So again, to expand that, we also went out to an additional set of bloggers that they weren't required to blog about the products. The 40 that we selected for 20 for spring, 20 for fall, they were obligated, and they could either accept the opportunity or decline it. These additional bloggers were not obligated, and we had over 10% of them participate on their own and share about the products in their social circles, which was really great and very encouraging for us to see. In addition to that, we wanted to try to activate and engage the bloggers' audience. And so the way we did that was through product giveaways. And that was a really easy thing for us to do, $100 gift basket. And it really was really neat to see how each blogger got their readers engaged. Some of them made them answer a question, some of them asked for opinions. So I know a lot of people have mentioned today through the different presentations about how social media really can be a focus group, and it really honestly can be if you utilize it in that way and really go through. We learned a lot from these conversations that took place with the readers of the blogs. So that is an overview of the campaign, and I will let you go on to some of the research results.
Absolutely, and then we'll be back and forth. So far, so good. No one's fallen off the stage. I knock on wood. So how many of you have taken one of our surveys before, or something like us? Single question site survey, answer it, in-page, right? So very familiar, right? Seems very simple. On the surface, what we're doing on the web is pretty straightforward, not hard to understand. What's going on behind the scenes with Vizu is pretty complex, and we're tracking not only responses from everyone within everyone that we are collecting responses from is within the campaign footprint. So whatever elements of the campaign that includes. We're collecting control and exposed respondents. We know what creative they're exposed to. We know when they're exposed to it. We know at what frequency. We know what media, where the media intersected them. So we're able to pull all this data together and convey results in real time via our online dashboard. And so what we found with this particular campaign, in addition to the qualitative engagement, which Marty mentioned was incredibly positive for this particular campaign. And I take a step here before I go into the results. A lot of folks and a lot of clients we work with prior to working with us or prior to working with another potential data partner or a results partner would stop here. This qualitative engagement is great. I run a campaign. I get a lot of good response via the ecosystem, via social media, via different outlets that I have to consumers. And then this is where we stop. So what we allowed for this particular campaign was to marry up, not to discard the qualitative, but to bring a quantitative element to pair it with what they were seeing from a qualitative aspect.
Well, and Jenny, that's before we partnered with you. That's exactly what we had done. Mm-hmm. That's all we had. And so we knew that was enough to go on, and we were seeing the impact. But for our organization, in order for us to have the dollars to commit to this moving forward, we knew that we were going to have to show more, more research and more metrics, which is where our partnership came in.
These people that love data. God love them. But so getting into some of the top line results of the effort. Marty already mentioned it's very successful, and that really bore out what we saw in the data itself. So, for example, in regards to frequency, what we found was even one exposure to a branded blog post was enough. Now, the significance here is that they knew the blogging was qualitatively successful. They knew it was probably the right way to engage the consumer market. But now they have the information to cap exposure at one based on the real-time data and go for more reach within the consumer target for this campaign, which is exactly what they did. Next, with creative, they found that the blog post really outperformed all of their campaign creative. Now, when you know that, now you have the ability to optimize to that. So shifting dollars, shifting impressions against the things that work the best. And that's the kind of sort of consulting we provided and worked on with Marty. So optimizing towards the things that are working best creatively to improve brand lift. Overall, the results for this particular campaign, a 50% increase in brand lift against that purchase intent metric, which was the primary campaign objective, the one that we measured for them. And really just material outperformed our beauty norms and our purchase intent norms. So it was an incredibly successful campaign. And I will say, reiterating what Marty said earlier, it was successful to begin with. It was a good campaign. It was designed well. There was a lot of thought that went into it. The optimizations that they did throughout the campaign just improved that lift over time. So improving the ROI, improving the media spend, because they were basically reacting to real-time data. And then I'll get back to you for learnings.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so we've both mentioned this several times, but definitely this program we were able to impact the purchase intent, which was, it was a huge metric. It's something that we didn't necessarily go into this program expecting, so it was definitely something that was really nice to see. And I mentioned earlier that there's a lot of things, like you saw in one of the quotes, that they said, I thought of Mary Kay as my mom's, 80s makeup, or I think it's my grandmother's makeup. Those are things that we can't call ourselves out like that, but these women can, and they do it very effectively. And it causes a lot of engagement with their readers in the blogs afterwards. And so for us, this is a piece of our overall media mix, but it's a really important one when it comes to that one-on-one interaction and changing the perceptions one woman at a time. I don't know how many of you are familiar with our selling model, but we're a direct seller. So that's kind of how Mary Kay was created. It was before the social media online. That's what we did offline. That's how our business was created, and it's touching one woman's life, just one woman at a time through our independent beauty consultants. So it's nice for us to be able to go out and reach out to people who love our brand as well and let them share that for us in their circles. So for the future, we definitely want to try to connect this back to some of the things that we might do internally. So we tried to isolate this program so we could get some clear understanding of where we were and really learn from what was effective and what was going to work and what wasn't. Moving forward, we would like to support some of our internal initiatives just to help drive some excitement and engagement through some of the contests and sweepstakes that we may be doing at the corporate level. And then for 2012 and beyond and into 2013, so we started out with this one test program that was a relatively small program for us last year. We have now added, I think we're up to 5 blogger outreach programs and product review programs similar to this in 2012 alone. And those are just for our paid opportunities. We've done a lot in the way of PR as well to increase our outreach to the bloggers and activate them, utilize them in beauty editor events and different things like that. So we've definitely not only increased it in the paid arena, but also with our product PR outreach as well. And then I talked about this a little bit earlier, but just as far as the legal and regulatory challenges, to allow our legal and regulatory teams in on the process to have to review all of those 40 blogs was really eye-opening, because what they found was these women really didn't make product claims. There was very little information that they actually had to change. So it got us to a place this year where they said, we don't need to review all these. We don't need to see them. We don't need to review them. We are comfortable with them. As long as you're staying within the FTC guidelines, we are comfortable with you guys allowing them to write the blogs, put them out there. Unless you want to use it on a Mary Kay property, something like marykay.com or one of our beauty e-newsletters, that's when they would need to review it. But that was huge for our legal and regulatory team to step back from that. And I know at other conferences where we have presented this program, that's been a big topic of conversations, is that a lot of the companies have the same challenges with their legal and regulatory. So we started out small, let them see the process, we got over the hump, they realized it wasn't so scary, and we were able to move on. Which, thank goodness for them, because they would need a lot of headcount if they were going to review all the blogs that we were doing this year. So that is it for us and for our case study. And definitely, like I said, the research that you provided was really, really key, not only for the learnings on this program, but just where we're going to take this for the future. And then having the consistent partner and the consistent metrics, not just for the blogging programs, but across a lot of our other partnerships.
Yeah, and if you guys are interested in the Brand Outlook report, the IBM report, anything that we mentioned here, certainly let Marty know, and we can definitely get that to you. It's on our site, but it's also easily emailable in case you don't want to write down that entire URL. Not my favorite slide of this presentation. Questions? Anything you're curious about?
Ready to go fishing.
Anyone? No, don't be shy. Are you guys around tonight?
Yes.
And did you bring is there a team from Vizu here, or are you the team?
I am not the team. I have another teammate. Teammate. I've never called her that. She's my teammate, though. Sam, who's here. Sam's a girl, but she had to run to an internal call, unfortunately, so she had to skip lunch.
Okay. All right.
She's seen this before, so it was okay.
Okay. Very good. So if you have questions for either one of these nice young ladies, please pull them aside for dinner tonight or tomorrow during the sessions. And thank you very much for a wonderful case study and for making the trip up to Kohler, Wisconsin.
Awesome.
Big hand.
Enjoy your lunch.
And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kathy because she's got a couple of housekeeping notes. And if you're playing, I'm going to tell you quickly, if you're playing golf today, we are able to get